Hello everyone and welcome back guys to a brand new video where today we're here back with round 14 of the F1 2021 Alpine mod career mode. Yes, this weekend we head to the Japanese Grand Prix. 4 points separate myself and Charles Leclerc as we head into this weekend. Of course, if you missed out on the last video from Singapore, I would definitely recommend going back and checking it out. But yeah, let's head in then here ready to Suzuka. Right, well, here we are then, back at Suzuka, an iconic Formula 1 track in the world of racing. And yeah, it's always great to come back to this place as well, of course. As always, we'll get the setup all sorted and we'll head out onto the track. Not too sure how much downforce we need around here. Really not too sure how we're going to fare around this track, I'll be honest with you guys. Quite high speed, but also a lot of downforce required as well. Should be a good track for Ferrari, I worry. So maybe this will be another chance for Charles to try and outscore us a bit. But you never know for sure. Right, here we are then. Qualifying has certainly not been our strong point over the course of the season so far, but maybe, just maybe today, we can try and get ourselves towards the front of the order here. Yeah, really not sure if this is going to be a track that suits our car or not. Only time will tell. Less than 90 seconds to a lap around Suzuka in these modern day Formula 1 cars, and that line through turn 1 is not going to help us out straight away. They're running very wide through turn 1 and turn 2 as we head up through the S's though, hopefully. We can try and get the car a little bit more dialed in, build up some temperature in those front tyres as we head up through Dunlop. Not the worst first sector in the world. They're really brave, actually using up all the exit curb through Dunlop as well. That's exactly what you like to see. Nice and aggressive through the first deck there. Make sure you get it slowed down for the second one though, as you try not to get any wheel spin on the exit. Still at the moment hovering outside of the top 10 in towards the hairpin. Really just try and get the nose rotated through. Short shift on the exit just a bit to avoid the wheel spin. Yeah, so far this lap hasn't been particularly brilliant though. Just lacking a little bit of confidence in the car once more on one lap pace. It really just takes a few laps into the Grand Prix to get everything all working as you'd expect it to. There, a horrible run through Spoon. That's going to compromise our exit as well there as we head down in towards the final few corners of the lap there. It's kind of insane just how many iconic corners Suzuka has as a track there. Down through 130R, obviously completely pinned. Has been for a very long time now. And then on the anchors for the Casio triangle there. A bit of a second guess of ourselves, but a lot of curb both on entry and exit. Down towards the finish line there. Almost hit the pit wall. Love doing that. Now, it's been a while since I've done that on this game, but it is P11 on the grid for the Japanese Grand Prix. I can't believe 14 races in, I'm still doing that. It's because F1 on PC and Xbox are different buttons, and I've got to remember. Well, a very weird qualifying session then for the Japanese Grand Prix. Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen, pretty usual there. But Charles Leclerc able to stick close. Sebastian Vettel up in P5. Another brilliant job done by the Aston Martin man. But you can see Perez down in 6th there. 7/10 off his teammate. And then you got Sainz 7/10 off his teammate as well there. Stroll, Alonso, Ricciardo and myself there with Lando Norris just behind us there, so we might be battling the McLarens this weekend. And then obviously you got both AlphaTauris, both Haas, both Alfa Romeos and Williams rounding out your grid there. George Russell last in a Formula 1 qualifying session. We don't see that all too often. Let's dive in then here ready for the Japanese Grand Prix. Right, well here we are then on the grid, ready for round 14 of the year here from the Japanese Grand Prix. Suzuka has been host to so many iconic moments from the world of Formula 1, and I'm sure today is going to be no different. The iconic corners of 130R, Turn 1, the Casio Triangle and Spoon, I'm sure are going to make a very tough challenge. Obviously, you've even got Dunlop, the Degners. Pretty much every corner around this track is iconic in one way or another. It is just a brilliant track, and I think, honestly, I've grown to love it more and more with the higher downforce of cars that we've seen in the more recent era of Formula 1 as well there. Yeah, the only figure of 8 tracks still on the Formula 1 calendar to this day. It amazes me that Liberty or Bernie Eccleston hasn't tried to cram another one in at some point or another, but I think it adds to the specialness of this track as well there, of course. You know, yeah, the only figure of 8 track. What more can be said about Suzuka being a very unique venue in the world of Formula 1? But of course, that doesn't take away from the championship battle that's raging on in towards the latter stages of the year. Of course, for those of you that missed the Singapore Grand Prix last time, a massive, massive opportunity wasted by Max Verstappen to gain huge points on Lewis Hamilton. But Mercedes, again, looking just very, very strong this weekend. It just seems like they've got that little bit of extra pace over Red Bull at this stage of the year. And of course Verstappen, with no help behind him as well, is making his season even more difficult to try and overcome the advantage. But of course, having a look at your grid rundown for today's Grand Prix, is Hamilton ahead of Valtteri Bottas there, Verstappen in P3, Charles Leclerc another brilliant 4th place by the Ferrari man, they're ahead of Sebastian Vettel there, Perez, Sainz, Lance Stroll, and then you've got Fernando Alonso and Daniel Ricciardo rounding out your top 10. We start 11th, just ahead of Norris, then you got both AlphaTauris, Mick Schumacher, Kimi Raikkonen, Nikita Mazepin, Antonio Giovinazzi, Nicholas Latifi and George Russell rounding out your grid order, ready for today's Grand Prix. 20 cars, 13 laps here. Let's dive into it. Right, well here we are then, ready on the grid for round 14 of the year from the Japanese Grand Prix. I'll be honest, the gap between Charles Leclerc and I, 4 points. I'm expecting that to go up just a little bit here today. We are going to try and go for an aggressive strategy though. We're actually going to go medium soft as we're starting outside the top 10. Not the easiest track to overtake at, so I'm hoping we can hold on in the first stint and then really try and motor our way through in the second half of the Grand Prix nonetheless there. But yeah, round 14 of the year here from the Japanese Grand Prix. I just want to dive right into it here today. Might be a bit of damage limitation in our battle with Charles Leclerc, but waiting on them, those 5 red lights here at Suzuka. It's 5 red lights. It's a very long hole, but it is lights out. And away we go. Oh, big kick of wheel spin as we head down towards turn 1. There might be under some pressure from Norris and Gasly just behind us. Oh, Ricciardo very, very early on the brakes. Can we have a look around the outside of the McLaren man? Let's just wait and see. There we go. Yeah, we found some space up the inside in towards turn 3. We've got to give him the room still. Huge wash of understeer on the exit. They were still side by side with Danny Rick, but we force him out wide. Pierre Gasly actually sneaks through as well there off the start of the Grand Prix. So one swap made up off the start here in Suzuka. But yeah, exactly what we wanted there. Pierre Gasly must be very, very thankful of us as well. Straight up into P11 of the Grand Prix in the first couple of corners there. So he's up, what, 3 spots off the start there? A brilliant little start as AlphaTauris still yet to score a point over the course of this year. Accidentally up the inside of our teammate Fernando Alonso there. We won't try and go for anything too aggressive at the start of the Grand Prix. But yeah, up into the points though for ourselves, which is exactly what we needed here at the start in Suzuka. Getting a good run on our teammate Fernando Alonso as we head down towards 130R here, using a lot of our overtake though to try and pull alongside our teammate. Oh, big old squeeze. But we do sneak by and up into P9 by the end of lap 1. They're a very, very aggressive move. Certainly put Fernando in his place so far this year, and that move just goes to show why. Hamilton leads at the end of lap 1. Bottas, Verstappen and Charles Leclerc make up your top 4. Sebastian Vettel still hanging on to P5 as well there, so not too much activity right at the front as all. Look at that, Alonso. Thought he was going to go back at us down in towards turn 1, but I wonder if the team told him to bail out. We've got a much, much bigger title fight going on at this stage of the year. And on these mediums, we might be able to cause a bit of damage in the second half of this race. Do not want to be duking it out with our teammate too much, however, so that could cost us both. Coming towards the end of lap 2, I thought I was running quite a high aero setup around this track here today, but apparently not. Apparently we've still got a very, very slippery car down the straights here, so to be honest, I should have probably opted for a bit more wing, but it seems to be working for us early on here in Suzuka. Hamilton, another new fastest lap there. We do a 1:31.6 as DRS has now, of course, been enabled. One of very few tracks, actually, in current Formula 1, with only 1 DRS zone still, however, Japan, because you can't have it down in towards 130R, as much as I would love to see it. Getting ever closer to Lance Stroll in that Aston Martin as we come towards the end of lap 3. Might be able to try and go for a run down in towards the final couple of corners of the lap. We're going to use even more of our overtake mode. We have been pretty aggressive with it so far in this race, but of course we need to be on these mediums here this time around though. Lance Stroll just using a bit more of his boost as well, I think, as we head down in towards the Casio triangle here. Stroll, oh, I thought he was going defensive, but was more than happy to come across us still, so definitely having to be a bit early on the brakes. Can we get a run out of the final corner? I think he's got some DRS on the guys in front of him. Yeah, unfortunately not making anything work so far. We've got Perez and Sainz though battling up the road. I think Sainz might have gone right around the outside. They're side by side back towards turn 1 there. Sainz gets hung out to dry. I think there's a bit of wheel-to-wheel contact. They're still side by side though. As we head in towards turn 3 and turn 4, this could give Stroll and I a big opportunity to close up to the pair of them. But Perez, look at that! Still, Sainz finally makes the move work there. A decent little move done by the Spaniard, as that was some brilliant racing. Come on then, Lance Stroll. Let's see what you got once more then in your Aston Martin. This time around we're going to be even more aggressive with our overtake usage there. Not quite close enough into 130R, but on the exit, all over the back of the Aston Martin. Down around the outside in towards the Casio triangle there. Deep on the brakes. A lot of curb on the exit. But we do now move ourselves up to P8 of the Japanese Grand Prix. We're getting a little bit of cheeky DRS from Perez up the road there, but we haven't got enough to defend with on the exit. We'll go defensive on Lance strolling towards turn 1, but he just bailing out of that one. Hopefully now we can leave him to battle our teammate. Now I think we've got to be really, really aggressive with some fuel, with some ERS, so saving even I should say, in this race, just so when we got the quicker rubber, we can really still try to attack guys rather than feeling like we get stuck behind him down the straights. Right, heading down in towards 130R then, and towards the end of lap 6, almost at the halfway stage of this Grand Prix, but we are now going to slot into the pit lane as we head through the final couple of turns. Let's just wait and see as to whether anyone else is going to make the call just yet. Top 4 all stay out. I think everyone going to try and extend in this Grand Prix. No, Sainz and Perez also both in. So that's good to see for ourselves. Make sure we get nice and steady in the pit lane. That was exactly what we needed. Not quite like Russia a couple of weekends ago, but into the box. Let's see if we can get a nice, clean, tidy stop onto the softs. We're going to get held a little bit, but we do come out actually inside Sergio Perez. As we've got, I think that's... Who was that trying to... I think that was Lance Stroll in this Grand Prix as well, trying to get something worked on us. But we've gained massively in that on both Perez and Sainz here. Exactly what we need. Now we've got quicker rubber to the end of the Grand Prix. You can just see Perez, look how slow he is through turn 2. Oh, we just don't quite have the grip on the exit there. But Perez, yeah, very, very easy to attack now. Right, come on then, Sergio Perez. Let's see what you got in that Red Bull. Famously one of the slowest cars still down the straights in this F1 2021 mod there. Fernando into the pit lane, but look at that. Straight at the inside of Sergio Perez. Oh, he tried to turn in on me again. The AI getting very, very aggressive in towards 130R, but this time around we're up into, I think, P7 of the Grand Prix, unless, of course, anyone that stayed out a lap longer has gained out of all this. Let's just wait and see where we rejoin it. Purple through the final sector. There is Sebastian Vettel heading out of the pit lane. Alonso's made some gains, though. But we are now up into P11 once more of the race. Very, very deep through for turn 1 and turn 2. I think... Whoa! Whoa, 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 whoa. Don't do that. Do not do that. I think, yeah, we could still get net P5 in this Grand Prix if we can get Sainz and Vettel still, which would only mean a couple of points lost to Charles. George Russell could be about to come in clutch in this Grand Prix for us, as he's now holding up Sebastian Vettel there. Sainz and I both closing in very, very rapidly on the pair of them here, as of course George Russell on some very, very old tyres. Oh, Sainz, big kick of oversteer. Is this going to make him vulnerable as we head down in towards 130R there? He doesn't go defensive. Vettel's having a look on Russell. We get clean past Carlos Sainz before we even get in towards the corner there, as Russell now might be weak on the exit. Just get boxed in a little bit. Seb a big lock up as he sees us in the mirrors. Around the outside of George. Up into P9 of the Grand Prix. It's going to be even higher though, once all of these last back markers have made their stops. And we are going to be up into, yeah, P6 of the Grand Prix there. Here comes Gasly though at the pit line. I don't think he's gained as much as he would have liked there, but he might be up into the points of this Grand Prix there. I think Gasly might be up into 10th place of the Japanese Grand Prix there, which could be massive for AlphaTauri if they can get that 1 point on the board. We, though, however, much more focused on Sebastian Vettel. Out of the final corner of lap 9, starting lap 10. Can we get a run on Sebastian Vettel down towards turn 1 there? He goes defensive as we head in towards the first corner there, but we get clean around the outside of the Aston Martin, man. Big old swipe as we turn in towards turn 1 there, just showing the confidence we've got in this Alpine. And from 11th on the grid, this alternate strategy really, really paying off at this stage of the day. Now up into P5. Charles Leclerc 3 seconds up the road. He's on hards. What have Ferrari done to Charles Leclerc's Grand Prix there? As he's on hard tyres. Could we close up between now and the end of the race there? 3 seconds between us. We could do this. New fast lap of the Grand Prix as well. That's what I like to see at this stage of the day. They're really starting to apply some pressure to Charles Leclerc. We've taken nearly 2 seconds out of him on that last lap, and it's a good job I'm not a betting man, because I said before this race we might probably going to lose points to Charles Leclerc. Maybe I would have been in to lose some money here. Oh, Charles Leclerc, end of lap 12, big old kick of oversteer, just like we saw from Carlos Sainz's teammate earlier on in this Grand Prix. I'm trying to save just a little bit of overtake mode just so we can get a clear-cut go at him at some point on the last lap of this Grand Prix there. Around the outside, though, in towards the Casio Triangle. Oh, Charles! That was very, very aggressive from the Monegasque driver there. Completely came across me in towards the corner, and you can tell this means so much to him as well. The 3 or 2 point swing even, it would be 3 if we finish ahead of him. Could be just 1 lost if we finish behind here. Could be absolutely critical in the championship, and it is all falling into place over the course of race day here. A little bit wide. Back down through turn 1. We've still got Sebastian Vettel waiting in the wings if something does go wrong between myself and Charles Leclerc here. But can we try and get close enough to the Ferrari to maybe have a look for something in through the exit of Spoon? We've still definitely got some good grip in the tyres, but it's definitely going to have to be done in the straightaways here. The hard's probably, yeah, not worn at all at this stage of the day there. In towards the exit of the Degners, under the tunnel we go. In towards the hairpin for the final time. Just being a little bit cautious on the brakes. Not too sure where Charles was going to brake there again. Oh, another big kick of oversteer there. Charles Leclerc accidentally, I think, there squeezes completely out on the exit of the hairpin. He is struggling, that Ferrari, trying to get every inch of grip he possibly can there. Sebastian Vettel's taking a huge amount of time out of the pair of us on this lap. But can we get the run on the exit of Spoon here? A little wash of oversteer there. Charles Leclerc gets a brilliant run off the exit of the corner, but now we've got to completely drain the battery as we head in towards the final couple of corners here. Up the inside into 130R. Surely this is a done deal. Straight past Charles Leclerc in the Japanese Grand Prix with just a couple of corners. Hamilton snatches back fastest lap from me, and a critical extra point for him in the championship. But we come through P4 in the end from 11th on the grid. That was perfect.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Ferme.
That's it then for another fantastic Grand Prix here in Japan. A brilliant victory that has thoroughly earned the applause from the sellout crowd here today. So Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners today. So, Anthony Davidson, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
Difficult call, but I'd like to say Esteban Ocon. He's just so gifted at getting the most out of his tyres, and he showed that today.
Well, Ant, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Well, there we are then, guys, the end of the Japanese Grand Prix, and surely it wasn't that difficult to pick a driver of the day. They're 11th to 4th. For us in the end. It was a good job I'm not a betting man. Otherwise, we could have lost some serious money here today. They're able to beat Charles Leclerc, our title rival, half the gap as well. It's getting really, really spicy between the pair of us with 5 races to go of the year there. But it is Hamilton who picks up the race victory here at Suzuka. Valtteri Bottas in P2 there. And of course, Max Verstappen rounds out your top 3, losing even more points to Hamilton in their championship battle there. Charles Leclerc finishes just behind us ahead of 7. Another really good weekend for Sebastian Vettel in that Aston Martin there. Sainz 7th, Perez 8th, Fernando Alonso in 9th. But Pierre Gasly does get AlphaTauri a point on the board there. That is what you love to see in the world of Formula 1 there as well. Brilliant job done by the Frenchman. Everyone did make it to the end of the Grand Prix here today. And George Russell, yeah, finished last as well. Just no pace over the course of the weekend there. Championship-wise, like I said, the gap 2 points between myself and Charles Leclerc now as we head in towards the next Grand Prix weekend. Hamilton, though, 34 clear of Max Verstappen. It might actually be close between Max and Valtteri by the end of the year as well. But yeah, with 5 races to go, Hamilton could very easily get the gap up to 52 points over the next 3 Grand Prix as well there. I don't think we got any movers, though, all in all. Like we said, Pierre Gasly getting that 1 point on the board for AlphaTauri is absolutely critical. Constructors-wise, Again, nothing really I don't think is going to change between now and the end of the year. Then Mercedes still clear out in front, Red Bull comfortable P2, Ferrari ourselves, Aston Mclaren, and of course AlphaTauri now with points on the board as well there. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed as well, and yeah, we will definitely be back very, very soon for round 15 of the year. I think we're in Australia next, but I can't remember for sure. I'll say that, and we'll end up being at COTA. You guys, however, do not want to miss it, no matter which venue we end up at. A big thank you to our channel members for making these videos possible. You can be featured in these end clips as well as granted access to some other exclusive perks for just £1 a month by clicking the join button below.